the shed is dead and it needs a doctor. I've been working on a project for 2 years now, so there's been no time to do any kind of repairs. We had to switch out a computer for one of these mid-project. I don't know if you've ever done it, like you swap out a computer like mid-project. I've been through a lot of stress, and stress affects electricity. There's proof of this. So much so that all 6 of my speakers have blown, which has never ever happened to me before. The shed is dead and it needs a doctor. But fortunately, we've moved home and we've basically moved Crow Hill because it's cheaper than renting in the centre of Edinburgh. So I'd kind of take you around my kind of idea of what it's all about. Kids are a little bit old for that stuff now. But actually, it might be worth just kind of stopping here, really. The idea about Crow Hill is about building something around people first, our team, and then the bigger community. And then it's also, for me, about a place before we get onto the tools, resources and opportunities. This stuff has been my dream of like a place where we can have like fire pits and barbecues, and there's a vegetable garden we can pull out and make salads and all of that kind of stuff. And it's in a part of Edinburgh that's really, really quiet. So I'm hoping it becomes a bit of a retreat, if not a refuge, for the types of people I love working with, which is really lovely, very talented, intelligent, worldly people who are broad-minded, most importantly, creative, inventive, imaginative. So we're going to visit the Romeo room in a minute, named after the balcony, and it's occupied by a bloke. And I did remind him that if memory serves me correctly, that should actually be the Juliet. Let's take you in. There's a place called actually Headley Grange, which I worked in once, which is a place that used to house Led Zeppelin. Peter Gabriel used to work there, and I think that's what gave me the inspiration for this place, to have a place where people come and nothing's fixed, nothing's purpose built, everything gets to get moved around so we could kind of express ourselves with sound. This is one of our edit suites, and Jack's usually working here. It's an absolute state because we only launched, how many days ago? Three days ago. So it's a bit post that, and Jack worked so hard he's made himself ill, so he's not with us at the moment, but I really look forward to introducing you to him. In Edinburgh they have these very tall ceilings, very tall windows, which is great because you get a lot of light, and the light is gorgeous at this time of year. Well, some people may say it sounds like you're building a cult, but it's more of a kind of sonic commune. Through there will be another edit suite. I won't show you in there because someone's actually living in there at the moment, and it's him behind the camera. The red step. The first couple of years of living here, I fell down this step about once a day. Hey Theo, hello. Can I come in? So this is the Romeo room, incorrectly titled. And this is Theo. Yeah, Theo's really good at finding all my really good stuff that's lying around and using it. Yeah, which I love because, as you know, I'm a bit of a gearaholic. And one of the reasons for doing this whole project was I was surrounded by like modular synths and stuff. And as I said, I was on this job for 2 years, and this job's pretty much fully in the box, except for the orchestras and the soloists we're working with. And I was just heartbroken that none of this gear was being used, and I think it should be, and particularly with inventive geniuses like Theo. So this is what I've called the playroom. We've made some content in here already, like musical and sampling content, and it really, really does work. And it's just full of memorabilia from my wife's incredible career as a successful singer-songwriter. And actually, she's the company director. I'm the humble secretary. It's through her support that we've built this space. We haven't wired everything in yet. A recommendation I always have when building a new space: wire up what you need, and then get a feel for the aesthetics for the acoustic, the ergonomics, before wiring it up. Like this desk was a bit further over there and that didn't really work. The speakers aren't in the right spot. So we're going to jiggle stuff around. Also, I've got a mixing desk that's been donated. Since you last saw me, the biggest addition has been this Lombardi mixer. It's just a lovely warm sounding thing, and for me, making music and making sound is as much feeling as it is the sounds and the music itself. And there's just so much soul in equipment like this that I think it just inspires people to tinker and explore. And we use this and a lot of the stuff in that rack to do that funk track. We did a YouTube about it that's linked below. I was just delighted with what came out because we didn't have to use any plugins, and that for me is really refreshing. There's a reason for everything that I've purchased, and sometimes it's just jealousy. You know, I didn't leave the city and then just buy a bunch of vintage kit. You know, the Juno 6 I've owned for probably 15 years, bought it for 300 quid. Of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 synths, so we've got JX3P, Juno 6, Jupiter 6, Prophet VS, proper Roland Vocoder Plus, and is that a Jupiter 4? Yeah, a Jupiter 4. Which is the most valuable currently, resale? Another example is the Fender bass. I was a huge fan of the Doors when I was a teenager, and I'd say Ray Manzarek, God bless him, is the greatest ever rock keyboardist. Funny thing about the Doors is they didn't have a bassist. So he played an organ and then played this Fender bass, which has this amazing round tone. I guess the weirdest thing I have is this, which is from the 60s. It was owned and used by Jimi Hendrix, both in the studio and on the road. Yeah, I feel very, very lucky to be in this position and to have had the support from my family to set up again, but to set up something that's going to welcome so many people in, hopefully. This house is always just full of kids running. We were the sleepover house, and you know, we'd have barbecues and all of that kind of stuff. And I'm, you know, up until becoming a dad, I used to be quite a hermit. But it's actually how we're designed to live, you know, having people coming in and out and running around and being noisy and stuff. We're meant to live like that. So I'm looking forward to people coming up and hopefully creating some wonderful things, sounds, music. Hasn't got all the mics in at the moment because Theo's using them. Since the last studio tour, I've invested in a pair of M49s. So they kind of look like M50s, but they're multi-pattern. So yeah, there's the pattern thing there. So it's on hypercardioid at the moment. We'd use it if we were using it in a tree, we'd use it on Omni. I've promised myself that I'm not going to buy another rack. So it'll be a strict one out, one in, or one in, one out kind of thing. There's a few things I've already not gotten rid of, I've gifted them to friends. Latest edition, which I haven't had a chance to play with, is the Eventide Misha. Let me know if you'd like to see a demo of that. One thing this thing has really helped me do is understand how these things work, particularly when you understand the analog ones are just fixed modular systems. And I think it might be really useful for people who are less familiar with analog synthesis about the various modules that go into these things. And I think that you learn better off this. So again, let us know if you're interested in me doing just like starting from scratch, you know, an amplifier, an oscillator, a VCA, VCF, all of that kind of stuff, because it's made me way better as a synth programmer. Yeah, I think the reason why there's a massive history of places like this being set up and amazing albums being made in these is twofold. One, by being residential, what you're doing is you're not scheduling moments of inspiration. You're ensuring that they're captured if you're housed in a place. The other reason is because they are not the domain of engineers, and as a consequence the engineer becomes the head honcho, and I don't think that's always right. I think engineers should be nurturing souls who bring the best out of everyone, and the best ones do. This kind of control of a space that isn't an engineer, it's more intuitive, I think is more interesting for people. I think also there's nothing worse for collaboration than keeping stuff in the box. So for me, having stuff splayed all over the place, yes, that compressor probably works just the same as a plugin, but I just think having many hands on things can create really interesting results. But I guess the other thing is that you lose your sense of time, and I think that that's important. That when I work in studios, because of the costs involved, everything is done against the clock. Whereas here, the other day I made some music with this, and I just gave myself 3 hours to mess around, and I ended up using probably about 15 seconds of those 3 hours, but it was stuff that you wouldn't hear anywhere else. It was original and it was accidental, and it was stream of consciousness, not some kind of regimented set of ideas. There's probably something I need to show you actually. Down here, this is a 24 track recorder. So basically, the minute we start the day, we just go like that. And you can record on this for about 3 weeks. And the idea is that nothing is ever lost. So we never have to do that. Oh, do that again. Oh, what did you do there? There's tracks by like The Prodigy, and they'll just take one sound, and it just has that, it's got that X factor. It's like that lens flare or just that accidental photograph. So the idea is that the minute you walk in, anyone walks in, switches the lights on, hits record and play, and doesn't need to worry about it running out, because it won't run out for weeks. So that's the idea, is spontaneity and collaboration, inspiration, and I hope we create some magic here. And done it every which way. I'd say the worst output of my entire career as a composer was when I was working in a studio that was purpose-built, where all of the furniture was purpose-built. And I lost my mojo for about 18 months. I struggled through. I had enough chops to know. And it's also just a bit mental. And I think something that we said to my wife yesterday when we were putting some pictures up was, it's like a walk-in mood board. And I think it's nice when you walk into a place for you to get the place, to get the people, to get what is going on there. There's more rooms, and I'll show you those as and when we do stuff with them. But this is the idea behind Crow Hill. It's not just people, it's not just the stuff we make, whether it be content or sample libraries. It's not just about the opportunities, it's about a place. And I hope this is going to expand, having it a destination for people all over the UK and indeed the world to come and visit and come and have a play. Any questions you have, put them in the video description down below. We're a small startup, and this YouTube channel is the heartbeat of what we're doing. So subscribing really helps us. So please tell your friends, subscribe, like, ding that bell. And if you've got any questions, whack them in the comments down below. I'll speak to you soon.